Hello, 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 TM24 here, and we are back with some more Marvel Snap content. Now, I know there's a new card out, and I will have a video on that coming up, hopefully tomorrow, but I recently got my hands on the Living Tribunal, so you know I had to try them out. And this deck, this ongoing Living Tribunal deck, is actually pretty good. You've got 3 big win conditions. I'm going to break each of those down. I'm going to show you some gameplay. I'm going to give you some potential replacements. And then I'm going to let you guys tell me what you think. But for right now, let's get into some gameplay. Alright, so you saw the intro. It's the Living Tribunal ongoing list. Now, I said I was going to show you 3 different ways to win. This is going to be way 1. So definitely a very solid, viable option here. And as you can see, it's going to line up really nicely for us. We see Deadpool. So, you know, we've got a chance to counter that. We've got armor in our hand, so you know we're going to snap play that. So these destroy decks really, it's going to be tough for them to get anything going. Armor's going to come down, block all the destroys. Spoiler alert, Cosmo is going to be able to do the same thing, and you will see Cosmo in a second as well. As you can see in this instance, we're not really hitting too much. We didn't hit much of our early game, which is a little bit weird because about half of our deck is 3 or under, meaning we should have something to play on turns 1, 2, and 3 ideally. You can see they know Killmonger is going to do nothing for them, so they might as well get a little bit of power down. Now we are still drawing dead, which is tough. But turn 4 comes around and we have Omega Red, so we're going to toss that onto Xandar. If we want, we can Iron Man that location on turn 5, meaning we should have a real opportunity to take that location by more than 10 and getting Omega Red's effect on all of them. And that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to get Iron Man down. Yes, it's a bit early, but we've got Claw if we need a little bit more power there. We still have Spectrum as an out. And as you can see here, Omega Red is going to put us up in all the location except for Aunt May's. And we've got Cosmo in hand. Makes a really, really easy play for us. We just Cosmo that Nimrod lane. And our opponent really can't get anything going. Death has not been discounted. Null has not been powered up. Right now, they don't have a whole lot going, and we are way up in Xandar, and you can see, even before Cosmo, they knew it was over. So that was the first way to win. Now we're on to the second way here. And you can see our opponent snapped right away. I was a little, I'm always a little leery when our opponents do that, but it's okay. We're not going to retreat or anything yet. Let's play it out and see what happens. We don't have any of our early game until turn 2. Getting Howard down allows us to know what's going on. You can see we've got Living Tribunal, Iron Man ready to go, but Living Tribunal all of a sudden is toast. So now we need to start planning. We see Nidavellir there, and that is a great option for Iron Man, simply because he's going to be powered up. He's going to be doubling up all that power out there. We see that we've got Onslaught coming, so that makes our line of play fairly simple. Let's go right into Nidavellir. Let's get Omega Red down. Let's get Iron Man down, and then we could even play Onslaught on 6, and that should give us a ton of power in those other lanes as well. Now, they counter our Cosmo with their own Cosmo, and that's perfectly fine. We see that we've got armor coming up. Like I said, I love Howard in this list. 1, because he's ongoing, but 2, because he's telling us what we're drawing. So that means that we can plan ahead. We can make our plays easier. Maybe we wouldn't have played Cosmo on Nidavellir had we not known Onslaught was in the wings waiting. But we get Iron Man down on Nidavellir, and we're just waiting for what our opponent's going to do. We know that we've got armor in this. We didn't even check what Howard is showing us because it doesn't really matter. Our line of play is set. The game is not being extended, so we know we are in good shape here. We're ahead in Savage Land. We're way ahead in Nidavellir. They probably want to contest us there, but they won't even be close with Onslaught coming through. And as you can see, Onslaught comes down for us, and that is just absolutely nasty. 140 power, 8 power, 12 power, and we only played 1 card in the other 2 lanes, and we get another very, very easy victory right there. And now it's on to the third and maybe most explosive way that you can win with this deck. So you all know it's coming. You see Iron Man, you see Living Tribunal in our hand. Now it's just a matter of playing it out and watching the fireworks here. So Howard comes down again, and like I said, I can't sing Howard's praises enough. I love the information that he brings. Now, I don't have anything to play on too. No big deal. You know, we're not reliant on playing these early game cards because we have that big combo at the end. Now, Magic is going to be great because that allows us to get both Living Tribunal and Onslaught down. So we're going to look to go Omega Red, Iron Man, Onslaught, Living Tribunal, and win the game that way. We're playing against a discard list here. Another list that Cosmo can do a little bit of damage to. You can see, though, we've only got one real option here. Omega Red coming down. Howard tells us that we're going to pick up Cosmo, which is great, but our line of play is pretty much already set. They play a really nice Dracula, which that Dracula actually looks really clean just as a base card, if I do say so myself. But we've got Iron Man ready, and you can see I thought about it for a second. Maybe we play Cosmo there, but if we want to pull off what we're looking to pull off, Iron Man, Onslaught, Living Tribunal is the only way to go. So they go ahead with their standard discard play. MODOK comes through on 5. They get rid of their whole hand. Wolverine comes down. Apocalypse gets powered up. We are in a tough spot right now, but it doesn't mean we're out of it yet. We've got Onslaught, so we're going to drop that down and get ready for turn 7. Now, they counter with Chavez in that same lane, but ultimately, it's not even going to be close enough. Onslaught just does so much work here that we're so far ahead, they can't even catch up. And now all we've got to do is play Tribunal in that same lane and take another easy victory here. You can see Tribunal comes through. Pretty cool animation, if I do say so myself. We get up to 29 power in each lane, and they can't contest us in any of them. So definitely one of the best ways to win with this list right here. All right, so you've seen some gameplay. Now let's take a little bit deeper look at this list. Now, obviously, we have the ongoing theme here. Almost all of our cards are ongoing, except for Spectrum here. I'm pretty sure everything else is... Oh, don't forget Magic. Spectrum and Magic are our two non-ongoing cards. Now, everything else is, so we love that Spectrum is going to hit everything. But let's take a look at these cards, right? Ant-Man, fairly obvious. Ongoing, super strong, especially when combined with Onslaught. And we'll get to one of those lines of play in a moment. Now, I like to include Howard in this list because it helps me plan out my plays. Knowing what I'm going to draw can help me decide which line of play I want to take. We picked Luke Cage so that we can kind of counter some of those high evolutionary decks that are around and make it easier for us to play on some of those tougher locations. Armor is here as protection and also as a counter card, and you saw that in that first game. Absolutely nasty, especially when combined with Cosmo, completely shut down those destroy decks. Now, Magic is there to give us a little bit of extra time and allow us to really pull off that Living Tribunal line of play that we're looking for. Now, a card that doesn't get a whole lot of love, but I personally kind of like, is the Omega Red here. So you got to make sure you're up by 10 in that location. Fairly easy to do, especially if you've got Onslaught and Iron Man there, but not the only way that you can win. Now, we talked about Iron Man a little bit here, but obviously Iron Man, Onslaught, Living Tribunal, congrats, you probably win the game. But that isn't your only line. We've got Claw as well that can reach some of those tougher locations. We talked about Spectrum. Onslaught is just going to make every card better. And then we've got Tribunal for that huge line of play. But I'm going to toss a graphic up here for y'all. And this is what we've got, right? So our win conditions here. We've got the option to counter what our opponent is doing, especially those on reveal and those destroy decks. So counter is going to be great. You've got Cosmo, you've got Luke Cage, and you've got armor that really help you in that regard. Now, ongoing, we've got that option as well. You saw this, I think this was in game 2, where we were able to go Omega Red, Claw, and just kind of get that ongoing going by itself. You don't necessarily need Tribunal to win. You can get power to multiple locations through Omega Red and Claw as well. And then, of course, there is the Living Tribunal line of play, which my favorite setup is Ant-Man, Iron Man, Onslaught, and then the Living Tribunal. It gets you the most power out there. But I totally understand if someone wants to run Cosmo on that lane instead of Ant-Man, just as a little bit of protection so that something like an Enchantress doesn't come through and completely ruin your line of play. So those are the three main ones. As you saw, I was able to win a game with each of them. This deck is very, very solid, but if you wanted to make some changes, I've got some cards here that I think would be good options. Now, the first one up is going to be Iron Lad. Combo's great with Howard the Duck, allowing you to see what's going on. Do you want an extra Iron Man, maybe an extra Claw, maybe you get Spectrum out there early. Whatever it is, Iron Lad can give you kind of additional options, maybe additional outs. Next up is Mr. Fantastic. This is one that I feel makes a ton of sense. Maybe in place of that Omega Red card, while it doesn't have quite the same upside, it can definitely be a little bit easier to play, and you're always going to get the effect where Omega Reds you maybe won't. Now with this list, I could see Sandman making a ton of sense. Once we get past turn 3, turn 4, chances are we're only going to be playing one card at a time. Iron Man on 5, Onslaught on 6, Living Tribunal on 7, something like that. So having Sandman to toss down and really slow down our opponents can be a great option. And then finally, there is Mystique. Do we want to copy our Iron Man? Do we want to copy something like Armor to get another armored lane? I just feel like Mystique kind of gives you some other kind of weird options to help you win some games. So, this has been the list. Those have been the lines of play, the replacement cards, but I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you have these cards? Are you going to give it a shot? And if you do, please let me know how it goes. I'm still tinkering. First deck that I've tried the Living Tribunal with, and we're definitely going to experiment a little bit more. But if you've hung around till now, I really do appreciate you watching the video. It does mean a lot to me, so thank you. If you haven't subscribed or liked yet, now would be a good time to do so. But until the next time, have some fun.